Hello, good evening. Hey Guja, how's it going? How was your week? How you doing? Great to see you again on stream. How's everyone doing? Do you had a good week? That's awesome. Oh, let me move the chat a bit. Okay, that's fine. What are you working on? Illustration. Hey Sigurd, how's it going? Welcome back. Splash art, nice. So grinding it, so to speak. That's good. I'm good. I just had a full day of work behind me, so it was very productive. Could do a lot of drawings, a lot of meetings, but everything was going very well. Not that tired. I just had coffee. Maybe I had a bit too much coffee today, but I don't mind. So, what will be the topic today? You maybe thought, well, last week we worked on this and he will probably continue to work on this. Will I disappoint you now? Will I say we don't going to continue to work on this? Will I always do that? No. Today I want to talk a little bit about opportunities, decision making, and art directing yourself. So what I want to do today is I want to talk a little bit about the process on when you make an image versus when you specifically decide on what are you going to do with your image. So if you maybe remember, or if you were at the last stream or watched the recording, we started this image from scratch. So we started with a drawing, and I'm not sure if I have the drawing here. Let me check if I have the drawing. Yes, I have the drawing. So let me put the drawing here. So last time we started with a drawing, right? We started with that. And that's a totally common approach of drawing something and then finishing it, right? But I often get asked, how does it work with portfolio pieces? Because of course you can make a pretty image and you can show that you can paint a pretty image, right? But what is really important in your image is not only the mood and not only that you can paint. It's also important that you tell a story and that you also maybe communicate, and it's always a plus that you have a good sense for design, or that you at least have a sense for design. Because we have a lot of images these days on the internet, and I also did a lot of images where I just made an image without really deliberately thinking about design or decision making. So today I want to talk about that, and I want to, with you together, work on this. So this is our color thumb we left off last time. So I took the line out of the way here, and I think I did not do anything here. I just scaled it up because it was a little bit smaller. I scaled it up. And yeah, so far I didn't spend any time anymore on this. The only thing I took out was, I think, this thing here, because I felt like, okay, there needs to go something in the foreground, but this doesn't work very well with everything else, but we come to that later. So what we're going to do is we're going to art direct ourselves today, and that's also a little bit the topic of today, is like how to art direct yourself. This is a very important skill, I believe. Also Sid Mead said that once. If you're not familiar with Sid Mead, definitely check out his work. He passed away a couple years ago, and he was one of the most influential and craziest designer we had. He worked on so many things, and he said that you have to be more than one person when you make an image. You have to be the person who makes the image, you have to be the person who's observing the image from the outside, you have to be the person who's directing the image, and you have to have this skill of basically directing yourself when you want to make a portfolio alone. Like, let's say you don't go to school, let's say you don't do anything to go into a program and you just want to do it on your own. So for this, you need to be able to art direct yourself and to be able to decide, okay, what do I do with my image? So the best way for this is to be very, very, very self-reflective and honest. And this is super, super hard. And it is something you really need to learn. So for this, we're going to take our image and we're going to destroy it. So, but we're not literally destroying it. We will write down and point out what we need to work on, what we can improve, and what we can actually design. Because that's what we want to do. We not only want to make an image where somebody sits in the front and just like showing a couple of things and then painting it and then say, that's what I paint, right? We want to give a little bit more. We want to give story. We want to give background to everything. So how could this work? So let's say you do the same as we did last time. So you start with a sketch and then you do a color thumb. And let's say you spend like 2-3 hours on the whole process of making a line art and blocking it in and trying to check the mood. So the next step now would be to stop, take a break, scale it down, and then look at it from a completely outside perspective. And this is something you really need to do. You need to step away, maybe flip it a couple times, take a different view of it, take a walk, grab a bite, and then come back and ask yourself, what do I want to tell? Big question. What do I want to tell? And we're talking here about story, of course, because story is king. Story is the most important thing when it comes to making an image. When you do an illustration, story is the most important thing. When you do design on its own, right? Story is great, but then sometimes more it's about functionality or aesthetic or if it fits the setting. But here, when you make an overall image, story should be the main focal point. So let's take a look at the image together. So what do we have here? We have the dude sitting in front, right? So we have the dude. Let's call him the dude, because for now he doesn't have a name. And he's either looking at us, so he's either looking at the camera, or he can look at something which is in the foreground, which was my first intention when we did it before, right? Because we had this leaf thing here. But this is something optional, something where we have maybe a opportunity or a possibility to tell even more story. So this is, let's call it story key. So what else? We also have this amazing tree, right? This huge thing which takes a lot of space in our image. Then we have, of course, the city in the back. So we have the city. Let's do it like this. We have the city. And of course, the city has buildings. Then also we have, I just indicated a couple flying things here, right? So we maybe have some planes. Or we have some airships. Then I also thought about that we're going to have something a little bit closer than the city. And I thought maybe this is his residence or his workshop or whatever we want to tell, right? So this here could be a second story key. So another story key. And of course, we have this here, this thing which I also just doodled in. I think it was just a little doodle when we made the image. was just a little doodle. Could be a plane, could be also an airship, could be whatever we want to design. But this is also, of course, up to us. And then we also have, of course, a lot of opportunity here to tell more things. I remember on the line art were also ships here. Like, I think I just sketched in some ships in the back, so also could be a story key here. And then, of course, we also have this ground surface here. So this is basically empty right now, but this also gives us some sort of opportunity to tell a story about that, right? So I just marked this area here, but at the end we could also have opportunities for story, so also another story key. So what's next? Now that we basically took all that away, we can also look over our sketch and think about, okay, what are things we maybe also need to adjust, right? I mean, we can work on everything, but we also maybe need to adjust things. So we could play always, and that's something you can always do. You can play with scale. So we could, for example, try to scale this guy up. We could see if we maybe scale up the foreground also. We can try to scale also the house here in the midground up. We could also play with the scaling of the city. It's the same thing. And we could also try to scale maybe also the airship or the plane, whatever it will be, up and down. The next thing is to look for tangents. So of course this is also something which comes in when we are painting the thing, right? But at the end it is something you always need to watch out, because let's say you make a composition and then you realize, damn it, I have a huge tangent there. And that's also the reason why I took out this leaf here, because it created a lot of tangents here. I had this not so nice overlap with the airship, then also it was very close to him, and then you always need to make sure that, like, what is the thing you want to show, and if you have it here in front, then this can be disturbing. So it is more important that we make the decision of, like, deliberate decision of what we want to tell, and this is absolutely crucial. And I really want to emphasize that, and I want really that if you can take out one thing of today's stream, that you make decisions when you make your images. Because again, a lot of people don't. They just paint. They just paint what they want or what I think about, which is fine. Nothing bad about it. Okay. So what's next? We took it apart. We say, okay, we have all these possibilities, but what does it mean? So what we need is clarity, right? Because when an outside person going to see our image for the first time, we want clarity. So we want a clear read of what is the story, what are the intentions of the things we put in the image, right? We want that someone is looking at the image and understands the story right away. Think about movies. Think about if you watch a movie, you see a scene or a frame sometimes for only 2 to 3 seconds. And that's the reason why also silhouettes are super, super important in movies. That the eye is immediately reading it's a person, or it's a city, it's a spaceship. These things are made visually on purpose, that you immediately understand, okay, this is this, it's a threat, it's a good scene, it's a friendly scene. And that's why we need to work on that. Okay, so far, is there any questions? And also, if I'm too fast with everything, please let me know. If I work with Rihanna in one team, no, I don't. I tried to implement your advice and just enjoyed the first few days in the art studio. That's great, Zigad. I'm happy to hear that. Oh, I'm happy that you like the topic, Kuja. Okay, so let's continue with that. If there are no questions about it, let's just continue with it. Let me switch the music a bit because it is a little bit confusing here. How about a bit of lo-fi? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so next step is, what is the important thing we want to design first? What is the thing we want to do? What is the story we want to tell? So what I thought, and I had enough time to think about it, what I want to tell is that I want to tell a story of a city which is basically known for a city that builds airships or planes or devices to fly. So it's a very windy city, so to speak. And the dude in the foreground, or the character in the foreground, is a guy who is basically building ships, or he's trying to reinvent ships. So he's an engineer, he's someone who's basically building stuff. And I thought the story could be that he's basically sitting in the outside in front of his house. So we have the story key here, this house, or his house, or his workshop. Let's say it's his workshop. And he's looking at things, at nature, to get inspired to build new things, so to speak. So the next thing would be, what could be here in the foreground to inspire him, right? Could it be something from nature? Could it be a plant? Could it be a mushroom? Could it be something that got floated through the wind, which is basically as an inspiration for his next plane, for his next flying device or airship or whatever. So it could be, let's write it also down. I would always advise write everything down. So could be a plant, could be a leaf. No, a leaf, you're right with F, I think. Could be a leaf. Could be some sort of little windmill, maybe by a kid who forgot his windmill or something. What else? Could be an animal. So maybe a bird, or maybe it could be also an insect. Okay, so this could be some potential story key for the foreground, which is basically explaining or telling story. Then we have the dude, of course. So we, of course, also need to design the dude. We need to, and that's also something like you maybe had the experience already. You make an image and at some point you have no freaking clue of how this thing, whatever you do right now, is going to look like. So the question is then, what do? You take a step back. So we have the dude. So before we design the dude, or want to start with at least a drawing of the dude, we need to give some boundaries to that. So we say, let's say he's old. He is building flying, let's say devices / planes / airships. In the scene right now, he studies nature, but this is about the dude here. And then what is happening in the scene? It's also important that we don't forget it. He gets inspired by nature. or at least he gets, let's say he gets inspired for next project. So we leave it open if it's nature or something else. Okay, so he's old. Like, I like the thing with the hat. So I don't know what it is, what I have at the moment. I draw a lot of character with big hats and stuff. So I thought about that. It's a little bit more of a stylized stuff, but it could be, I don't know, maybe 1700s, 1800s inspired. But let's make him old and maybe also a bit grumpy. We can also write down, he has a beard. We could also technically draw our notes, right? So you could draw, if you have a long beard, does he have a full beard, all that stuff. There's a question, how much of these design decisions and story elements did you know when you started the sketch? I had no idea about it, Kuja. Again, you were there last stream, right? So last stream we just started with the drawing. I can pull it up here also again. So let's put it in here. There it is. Okay. So last stream we just started with this drawing here. And I had no idea about it. Like, sometimes I do this little doodle sketches here in between when I make an image. I think this was for his workshop, to think about, okay, how his workshop could look. But basically I had no idea. I was just drawing right away. No, I did not thought about a story at all in the beginning, I would say. I just started with the tree and the composition, and I think someone mentioned a compressed composition, and then somehow I did a compressed composition. I think we talked about it. I cannot probably remember. I think it was like that. And then I just, I don't know, started drawing something. And of course, I think when I added him, I like the things I drew here, like that he is like drawing or writing or whatever. I had this a little bit in my mind that he's something like looking at something. Like he's not looking at the camera, he's looking at something like that. But the purpose wasn't clear to me. And I mean, I had a week of thinking about it. And today, before the stream, I also took a bit of time to think about what is basically the reason for him. Let me just quickly reopen this one because I couldn't zoom in. Okay, yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, cool. All right, so let's continue with this one. Let me just quickly planning. Save this. Okay. All right, so what we do, we're going to continue with this. So, right, so we have the dude. You can go really deep with that. It also depends on your time, how much time you want to spend. We can, like, when we come to the city, let's say we talk about the city right now. City is huge. We could talk about, like, what is the purpose of the city? Like, because a lot of cities, of course, they have a purpose, and in the past, in history, they had also a purpose. So, for example, if you have something like a haven, or haven, I think it's haven. If you have something like a haven, it was always a spot for trading all sorts of things, spices, minerals. In the past, like all these cities who were like the special places near the ocean or near the coast, were always very, very run by a lot of people. So it could be for, what is the purpose? Could be for trading. Could be also like have a military purpose, right? Harbor. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Haven. What is haven? Never mind. it could be military purpose. There may be also basically a city who's also specialized on building or crafts, so to speak. Okay, and then the next step is on, let's say it is a city specialized on crafts. What are the buildings they have? Do they have certain buildings which are like made for mass production? So let's say they have forges, but these forges have to run 24/7. So how did they design those forges that they run 24/7? And what did they use for that? So in our story, it's a city which is at a super windy environment. So the environment is basically perfect for flying. So it's windy. We can call it Windy City, like Chicago, just with actual wind. Yeah, and so the purpose here is to identify what is basically the reason for it. So then here's this workshop. Of course, this workshop is for building stuff. Building stuff. And of course, we could have ships also on the back. So depending on what is basically the scenario, could it be steam-powered ships? Could it be also maybe ships which are a little bit specific to this whole air thing? So maybe it's fishing. So let's say a city who is specialized on building airships and planes. How would they build ships? How would that look, right? There's so much potential, so much design and story potential we can work with. And when you really take your time, you will never have ever again the problem of not knowing what to make in this image. And this is something I really want to give you today, because I know this can be a struggle when you make an image and you have no clue what to put in. And you have different approaches on starting an image. You can start with a problem, you can start with the story, you can start with a keyword, but you want to get the image done right and you want to tell a cool story. Okay, and yeah, and also like you can go super deep with that. So we could think like, what are the trees looking at that area? Like, how do trees look in an area where there's a lot of wind? Are they actually so full with leaves? Or is it a specific kind of tree? So always questioning like, what is the environment behavior? Okay, all right, so let's say this is, so to speak, our first planning step. What is the next step? What do you guys think? Hey Sika, welcome to stream. The next step is crying, yes. That's a good point. Could be possible. So what we want to do now is we start, how Mark Twain said it, managing complex tasks by breaking them down into small parts and then start with the first one. So we have to decide what we are going to design first, right? So this is basically here our roadmap. This is our plan, our game plan. And when we cover all that, when we design the tree, when we design the plane, when we design the city, and everything is going into the full, we have our image basically done. And all we need to do is then bring it in. And when you do this, so when you fill a page with designs, you work them out just for the character. Then you do all the designs for the city and the architecture. And then you do everything else for the plans and for this, and you think about a full story. And at the end you have this establishing shot or this image with everything coming together, then you have a round portfolio piece. And I wouldn't even say you have a perfect or a really good portfolio piece, because this can be subjective, depends on whatever you decided to do, what's the story, but you have at least a round full portfolio piece. You don't only have one single image, right? Because this can be cool. It can show that you have the skills to make a final image. But when you want to work in design, or you want to work in development or in production, then you need to show that you are able to build something from ground up, that you can design something, that you can develop something. And this has to do with concept art, right? It's not only illustration and painting and sitting in a corner, sun comes in and you just paint all day. No, we are problem solvers. We need to solve problems. Okay, what should we do first? Any wishes? So I would say when we decide for one thing, that we will do today for the rest of the stream. I'm completely open to what you want to see. We can make the dude, we can make the workshop, we can make the city, we can think about the airship or the plane, we can make the trees. I want votes in the chat. Kuja want to see the airship. Okay, we have one for the airship. Okay, we have one for the airship. What else? Everyone has one vote. Okay, Sigurd has one for the city. The other one in the chat, in the stream. Come on, we're only 6 people today. We're small. We have one for the workshop. One for the workshop. Where is the workshop here? One for the workshop. Airship. And we have another workshop. Okay. So we basically, no, we have 5 votes. There's one more person. Hey Hakim, how's it going, by the way? Hey Psycho. You changed from city to airship. Wow, what a move. All right, so we're going to do the airship then. That's going to be cool because I haven't done any vehicles for a long, long time. All right, we were going to do the airship first today. There's the winner. Okay. Okay, let's close this one. We don't need this for now. So, of course, we keep our planning here on the side because we need to keep in mind what we have written down, right? So, we want to design an airship. So what do we need to do next? We need some references, right? So let's move over to the web page. And the web page is not shown. Just give me a sec. There it is. Okay, let's go for a little bit of research. So there we are. Okay. So what I always look at is, of course, real life reference from airships. I'm going to paste them in so that we at least have an understanding for what we want to design. And let's image. No, it's not. Okay. Let's go for Airship 1934. That's better. So what I'm actually interested in is not only airships in itself, like those military airships, but more in this stuff here. So, because as you maybe remember, our story here is to talk about a city who is basically known for building things. So we want to design something which is a little bit more unknown. Just reading the questions quickly. Do you usually start with a ref, or would you start sketching, just get out own ideas? Yeah, so usually I would start with an idea, but I never designed an airship. So in order to know what an airship has on components and functionality, I would just get some first reference to understand at least the subject I want to design. Because if I have no clue of how a car works and then I just start to draw out cars, I will have a lot of trouble. How do I find real life reference if I don't have a life? A very deep question. Maybe first find your life then. Okay, let me double check what we have. We have 3 images. Okay, let me get maybe another one. This is kind of cool. And this also as well. This is something I looked for. This and this is great here, because we also have human scale. Okay. Okay, and now we not only need reference for the airship, we also need something for the inspiration. So we need something that is helping us to come up with cool ideas. And I would recommend to everyone who's want to proceed this journey or is working to make a Pinterest board just with things that inspire you. Because you definitely need something that is helping you to just get the spark going. And for me, it is always nature. So this looks super cool here. Those ship fishes. Sorry. And what we want to do is we want to, in a way, design the airships, but we also want to combine maybe shapes or use shapes that help us to come up with a cool design. And this does not work always. If you go for things which are similar visually, they maybe not work. And if you go for things which have not the same purpose, they maybe not work. But if you find something that has a similar purpose, this can work very, very well. So, for example, if you want to design armor for a knight, and you look at things in nature which are made for protection. So, a turtle shell, a seed shell, could be everything. Everything with a shell, everything which has the purpose of protection. And if you find something that has a similar purpose, then it can help you to come up with cool design ideas. So that's why I would try to go maybe for these fishes here. And because the airship is basically floating in the air, right? And what are ships doing underwater? Fishes, sorry. I like fish as well. They're also floating.
If you need further assistance, enter pound now.
So we grab all these references here we want. And we're just looking for interesting shapes.
Please leave your name, number, and a message after the tone.
What's up with that music today? Hey. Doesn't bring me in the mood. Pufferfish reference? Did I had pufferfish reference here? Oh, we can grab some. Okay. Okay. I would also recommend, if you look for the reference, try to go for something more like a side view, because we will do side views for the first design iteration. This looks freaking awesome. Let's save this one here. This is cool, yeah. Yeah, I like this. Or even this seahorse. This looks awesome. All right, I think we have enough. So let's switch over again to the live scene. Whoop, there we are back. Okay, so we are back. Let me close this. Okay, so now we have all the references, right? Now we want to design our airship. We are starting with side views, but let's just quickly organize the stuff a little bit so I have everything on a fairly visual level. Okay, boom, boom. You know what? Let me make this small. This. Let's save this as ref. Then let's open another file. The ref over. Boom. Okay, let's go. We don't need this first. Let's zoom in here. So I'm just looking for shape. Interesting shape. Of course, we also need to think a little bit about aerodynamic and we need to think about what we can actually, like, what can we change and how can we change it to make it still function, right? But let's just give it a go. I wouldn't give myself too many constraints in the beginning, just to make sure that you are finding something that is interesting. Okay. One more thing, I want to reopen this one as well. Range ref, so I can also see this. Okay. So I don't want to kill my eyes, so I'm make this a little bit darker here. Yep. Okay. So again, I've never done an airship, so it's going to be super cool. So always good to have a reference in terms of scaling. So how big is basically the object you do versus a person. Just So it's also up to you, like how much time you spend and how much thumbnails you want to do, of course. So when it comes to design, design is really the hardest discipline, in my opinion, to learn. Oh, sorry if you can hear the ambulance. Design is really the hardest part to learn when it comes to image making. Also, I mean, that's also the reason why people study that. You can study like 4 years design and still not can be a proper designer. And I also, like, I think I did a lot of projects while I was studying design, but the most stuff I learned really in the real life world. But a good starting point when you want to learn design is playing with scale. So when you, for example, take an object from the real life world and then just play with a scale. Scale it up, scale it down. Try to find out what is actually what is happening when you scale it up, when you scale it down, when you make it longer, when you make it thicker, when you stretch it horizontal, when you stretch it vertically. Okay. So just thickening the silhouette, thinking about maybe little things we can add just to improve the silhouette. And then I would say just move to the next, because usually the first one is always the worst. And it will be interesting when how much we have after the stream. We are 1 hour in, so let's see how many we can do and how many I can come up with actually. Okay. We also need to add a wing here. Again, this a bit. Okay. Okay. So what you can also quickly do, it's also something you can do at the end, but it's pretty cool to basically have a double check with the appearance of your silhouette. So we just take the magnetic lasso tool. Boom. And then we just... Wow. Why is it dark? Okay, and then we also just want to see how the silhouette reads from the side. So now we make it dark. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, and now we try to make the next one. We try to improve basically every single time, and try to, of course, not take the same shape. And also, what I mentioned before, we want now to maybe play a bit more with the scale. And what I mean is really by taking what we have and stretching it completely, making it more vertically, more horizontally. So let's go for the next one. Sketches. Okay, let's go for something a bit more crazy here. Let's go for this one. Was cool. Okay, go for something like this. So for me, it's really important to nail the silhouette before I do any interior detailing, because this is what we want to work on the most, right? Is the clarity on the silhouette. And it's completely fine if you not nail your silhouette right away. It's really a process, especially when you do stuff like vehicles, for example. When you look at transportation design, they do tons of side views just to see how form lines and flow lines are working on the vehicle. So there's really no thing if you are trying and trying and trying. It's totally fine. When you do smaller stuff, we want to mimic our main shape for the beginning, just to make sure that we are using the same kind of form language we have already used for the silhouette. And then also maybe trying different stuff. So, oops. So maybe scaling stuff up, placing stuff on different areas, maybe trying something like this. Maybe we can also just duplicate this. And the most important stuff is here really have fun with your process, with making the things. And if you not have fun with designing, then maybe design is not the thing for you, which is also not bad, right? Don't get me wrong. It's not everyone is made for doing design or concept art. Then maybe you want to be an illustrator. That's also totally fine if you're keen about making illustrations. So totally okay. Any questions so far? I see we a couple more people now. Anything you have a question about? Anything that's unclear so far? questions. Awesome. This depends on how much time I have, Sika. So, yeah, it really depends on how much time I want to spend and how much time I have on a project. So, when I worked in commercials, usually I didn't have so much time. So everything was very fast paced. You only had a 1 day deadline, so you have to do super quick iteration in 1 or 2 hours. You do iteration 1 or 2 hours, and then you start to do the first draft and try to visualize stuff as quickly as possible so a 3D person can build it. But in games, the production is different, so you have more time. Also depends on the phase, right? If it's a blue sky phase, if it's something where, yeah, if you basically get the time to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I would say, like, for my mentees, I would say in general I give them on homework 10 to 15 iterations per page. That's a general, it's a good number. Like 15 iterations per page. Then we choose the best, or we try to mix or try to find what is the best design, work out that, and then we go into 3D perspective. Also, for everyone who joined, if you're interested in learning one-on-one with me in my mentorship, I have a mentorship. It's available on my website. It's written there on the stream, so you just have to go on Janos-Art.zone. And if that's something you're interested in, feel free to check it out. Or if you know someone who's maybe interested in that, also feel free to share it with them. All right. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Finally, the music is good. Yep, cool. Happy to hear that. So, I think I don't want to have this for now. I want to do this later here. So, like, I think after the stream I will make a more deeper research on airships. Because I would like to know what is actually the proportional ratio you have to carry what amount of weight. Be interesting to know. Okay, so let's see. The silhouette is a little bit boring still. I mean, it's fairly clean, but I think I want to add more stuff here. This. So let's see if we can add maybe something like. And that's also what I meant. Like, the first iterations are always the worst. Mostly after iteration 10 or 12, it gets really good, or at least good enough. So do we have maybe small of this? Maybe here. Like, also when you add things, like when we add these engines here, think about what do you want to do with the silhouette. Do you want to break the silhouette? Or do you want to keep the silhouette? If you want to go for something more clean, then it makes sense that whatever you do, it's maybe inside of the silhouette, right? Rather than like having a clear overlap here, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong. A clear overlap is also good. The only thing we don't want is tangents, right? So let's see. Really take your time. If you have the time to really spend time on these, take as much time as you can. Okay, let's see. And the good thing is when you do it in, you don't see the pufferfish. All right, the pufferfish will come. Don't worry, Kuja. Yeah, when you do it in side view, you have to think only in one dimension, so to speak. You and your pufferfish. Okay. Also, while doing it, I think about like air flowing, like the flow of air through the object. So we keep the aerodynamic effect of it, trying to move forward. And don't worry here, really just do it again until you're happy with it. And always quality over quantity. So don't think you need to do like 15 or 20 iterations. Really, rather do 5 good. This is 10 just okay versions. Right. Okay, let's rework the thickness of the silhouette. Okay, so same thing here. Let's fill it. The wrong layer. This one. Any questions so far? Chat is pretty quiet today. Ah no, I'm stupid. I used the wrong one. Damn. Sorry, I couldn't see all the questions. Now I can. I only watched on Twitch. But not on YouTube. By the way, what are you all thinking that we maybe for the future move the stream to only Twitch, and then I just upload the. What do you think about that we maybe move the stream to Twitch and then I just upload the stream later on YouTube? Hey Jonah, welcome to the stream. How's it going? So now I can read all the questions. Sorry, I didn't saw it for any reason. I was wondering why the chat was so quiet. Sorry Kuja. How much of the mechanics of the reference do you need to know? I would say at least that you understand how it functions. So let's say you want to design a car. Then it should be important that you understand the main, the things that make the car going forward, you know? So you need to know it has an engine, an exhaust, it needs wheels, you have a cockpit, but at the end you can always break things down. It's the same thing when you design stuff. So when you, for example, analyze an object, you can break it down into big, medium, and small, always. So for this, you can analyze the object down to its essentials. And that's what you always need to do. Hey Seiya, how's it going? I hope this answers your question, Kuja. Let me know if you have more questions. Yeah, Kuja is now a part of the ArtSTATION community. So he's here, where he belongs. Okay, now making this black here, double checking our silhouette. And see how it looks. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, what's happened here? Okay. Okay, maybe I scale this one a bit down here. Jawohl. Okay, let's move on. So maybe let's try the pufferfish. I mean, you can see all the animals, all the fishes I have here. Like every one of these can be some sort of inspiration for the design. So let's look for the pufferfish. There's the pufferfish. So this is kind of interesting. Like we could also think about maybe a airship which is not maybe for so many people, but maybe it's more for one person. Because of course, like it's the city of airships, right? We are designing. So for everyone who joined later on, we are basically went over our image from last time, analyze it, what is important. You can all watch the recording after the stream is done if you missed it. So what we did, we basically analyzed our first iteration color thumb or sketch, and then we wrote down what is possible there to design and what could be helping the story. And we all together decided, of course, everyone was for airship. And we decided to start with the airship today. That's why we are designing airships. You're still busy with trying to find an internship? Sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's the industry, right? It's not many internship spots. Yeah, you think it's a good idea? Yeah, I also thought like maybe I think that maybe we move all the streams to Twitch, and then I'm just worried that the quality is maybe not that high when I download it. I will test it today if the quality is high enough, because I then would maybe also edit it quickly to cut out like all the unimportant things, and then I re-upload basically the stream on YouTube. And then we are all on the Twitch chat. That's something I thought about for quite a while right now. Yeah, maybe I will also just ask on the community tab. Yeah, I will ask on the Discord and maybe also on the YouTube community tab. But then, yeah, we can go all on Twitch maybe then next time. Okay, seems like you like the idea. Yeah, I will just ask in a round. I hope everyone is fine with that, because since we're doing the live streams, we did it on Twitch and YouTube. And yeah, I don't want that people think like we are gone or something. Yes, I'm also from Germany. Where are you from, actually, Kuja? You can also always ask questions, Jonah, if you want. You do not bother me. I wouldn't do the stream if it would be bothering me. The stream is really for the community and to help, so to speak. If I can upload more artworks on ArtStation. Yeah, to be honest, I'm really behind with all that. So there's also a lot of stuff which I took out from my ArtStation because it's from the last 2-3 years. And since I work in my company and also with the mentorship, I'm so full. So yeah, I wish I would have had more time to finish also all the projects I have on my laptop, which are unfinished. What you want to see, Data? Nobody knows where you're from, Kuja? It's a big secret? Okay, let's keep it a secret. I don't want to take it away. Yeah, you're right, Sika, maybe. Maybe it's also better if the uploads are a bit more condensed. Okay. But let me also continue the airships. Okay, let's try for something Something like the puffer fish here. By the way, I love this. What is this? Is this his mouth here? What is that? Really? What the fuck? Maybe he's... Oopsie. It's like... Life is good, bro. There's a bit of red eyes. He's inhaling. He's like, do you need some stuff? I have the good stuff, my friend. Studying the puffing fish. Be even stronger, even rounder. And more like this, maybe. The most handsome fish at all, yeah, that's true. Character sketches, anything really. Know you have a lot of stuff Instagram, but they're low quality. Yes, it's true. Yeah, Instagram is compressing stuff. Are you serious, Kuja? Or is that a joke? That would be quite a coincidence. Oh, serious? Wow. Okay. Interesting to know. So now let's play a bit with the scale here. So on a reference we see this front part here of the airship. So let's like now start really with playing with the scale more. Because sometimes when you do that, you really come up with results which are, yeah, just interesting, more interesting. Because what we want to do, we want to have the viewer look at our design and think like, okay, what is that? Is that, and then they need to be able to say in a second, okay, it's technically an airship or something that flies, but they're not 100% sure, and they continue like, okay, what is that? Is that an airship? That looks interesting, and then we need to catch them. We need to grab the attention on that. So when you do something shape-wise, and for example, let's say you design something which has a triangle shape as a base, and then you add something which is more round, then the question is what is happening to the shape, right? So the question is then, what is the appearance of the shape you created? It gets more round, so does it get more friendly, or do you do the opposite? Does you basically add the triangle to the circle, and the circle becomes more aggressive? And this is really something you do when it comes to decision making, deciding really what you want to create. And you see, nature is really the best designer and gives us really good starting points for our designs. So don't expect too much of yourself when you just do this for the first time, because this is really something which comes with a lot of practice, a lot of experience. I also to this day do so many shitty designs, but we need some designs we are not taking, right? There are things we need to discard, so that's why we need shitty designs. Can you, in the future streams, show how to design something like something complex like a transformer? Do you mean literally like a transformer from the movie Transformers? Are those designers all car and electronic expert, or a lot of fake knowledge design? I mean, I don't know 100% who is working on what. From my experience, when they do projects like this, they grab experts, like just one person for the vehicles, or one person for the buildings, or one person for a certain thing, just maybe prop design, or for really something super specific, because it has to be as real as possible. And that would make sense if you hire a car designer for movies where you need cars, right? But there are also like concept artists which are really freaking crazy good. And a transformer, I think when it comes to the Transformers, there's also, I think the comics and all that stuff was there before, right? Before they made the movies. I'm not 100% familiar with all that because I just watched a couple of the movies. I'm not so deep into them. But if they are mainly made out of car parts, and basically all the Transformers are made out of vehicles we have on Earth, right? So some of them are jet fighters, some of them are older planes. I think at the end they take just the parts from the real life reference they find, you know? And of course, movie production is always super fast. But I think it's not that impossible to achieve, you know, Kuja? It just needs a little bit more research and a little bit more time. How do you know it is a good design? You sometimes can't tell. Well, sometimes it's more about, when you art direct yourself, it's more about trying. So I would say, for me, it is clarity. What is visually interesting? So what is not too symmetrical, maybe has a bit more of asymmetry? What has an interesting shape? Like when you zoom out and then you squint your eyes and like, let's take these three, and then you look at it like, what would be visually, just on the first sight, what would be the most interesting for you? If you have to decide for one of these. This could be an indicator. And then you flip the stuff. And then you think also about, okay, it's like, what do I want to design? Has it a functional purpose? What is the purpose? Does it fit the purpose? Let's say the one in the middle is something you want to, something it's just for one person, right? So then the one in the middle is maybe a bit too big for that. Or how can we change the one in the middle if we like the silhouette or the shape of it to something that can work for what we want to achieve? So this can be definitely something. Or what you can also do, Hakim, if you have friends, like, and they don't have to be artists. If you have friends who are just like just everyone basically can take a look at stuff, and when you say design an airship, like you show them like, what do you think of it? And if they can tell it's an airship on a first sight, it's a good sign. And then if they could, without you telling what it's the purpose or what it do, whatever you designed, if that they can tell automatically, then it's maybe the right direction. Also, sometimes it needs time. Sometimes you just need time for the stuff. No? So you make an iteration, you let it rest. Basically take it out of the oven and then you let it rest and then come back. And then you maybe see, okay, maybe it's not the best idea you had. Maybe you could do better. How to avoid cliches? You mean design cliches? Do you mean like basically generic designs, or what do you mean with that? Can you elaborate on it? Oh yes, very often when I don't know where to go further with a piece, I just let it rest for a day or two and look at it again fresh eyes. Yes, that's a good way. That's the right way to do that. Okay, by the way, welcome to everyone who just joined. So we're getting more people here. So let's say this one here is a little bit smaller, so it's more for one person to go. So we can also think about the scaling of these things here. But we also need to make sure that the silhouette works as we want it. Again, if you don't like stuff, just erase it and adjust it. No shame in that. So again, we think about the airflow here. The hose air flowing over the object. This always works for every object which has to move forward. Okay, but I'm not Kim Young-ji, so Kim Young-ji would draw people having intercourse on the Zeppelin. Okay, and we need something more. Let's take a look at the other reference also, because also haven't took a closer look here. Ah, okay, that's interesting. So this is how they look in the front. Okay. So this could be a one-person Zeppelin here. Oh, I just made it crash. Okay, cool. Let's reopen it. Did you met him? No, I never met him. What I would ask him? You just want to steal my question. I know it, Kuja. I give you a really good question, then you meet him before me, and then you ask him. And then when I see him, he's like, oh, people asked me that before. Know where you're coming from. I don't know. The thing is, like, every time when I meet someone which is, let's say, a famous art person or someone from the art community, for me, like, I don't know, I have to vibe with the person. So I'm not like going to them and then just really try to ask a question, you know. I'm also not the type of person. I really don't care. You can be the best artist in the world. I like that. I like your art maybe, but I also have to vibe with you. And if I see, like, I don't know, I don't vibe with you, I don't give a shit. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's cool, but I think like his English is not so good, right? So I would have to speak Korean, or we need a translator. But what would I ask him? What would I ask him? I would maybe ask him if there's one thing he can draw for the rest of his life, what would it be and why? Yeah, true, he always runs around with a translator. Hey, you asked about the art challenge on Discord. Do you have already ideas? Yes, Hakim, I have a couple ideas, but I'm worried that the things like I want to find something that is simple enough for everyone to participate, but also I want it to be a cool idea, you know, and that's something you can do every day. So it's kind of tricky at the moment. Cannot really decide. Do you have any ideas, Hakim? Share it with me. Did you meet him, Kuja? think I need a bit more space here for that. So let's say there's one guy in that thing here. Maybe sitting. Like this. Oh. But I think his English is actually just fine. His translator struggled to find the right words, and he himself just said it in English. Ah, okay, I didn't know. I had a chance to meet him, but I had to work that day. What do you mean you had to work and you met him? Was it a convention and you had to work, or? Please tell me the full story. Ah, you also wouldn't know what to ask him, okay. If you can tell your teenage self 3 words, what would it be? Is that a question for Kim Young-ji or a question for me, Data? No ideas, only did one in my... you only did the 100 hat? Twice? I mean, that's not little, right? I mean, Hakim, would you also be down for doing not something without faces or characters? Because that's also something I think about, like, if people are more interested in doing things more with character origin. So let's try to somehow get this thing here. So maybe it sits more like maybe more like this, maybe really sitting. So let's say this is like the book of the sailing ship. But at least we can also have like a ladder or something here. I mean, this is all small stuff you actually do later, right? What do we need? Maybe something just also driving the thing a bit more. A question for me. Okay. If I could tell my teenage self 3 words, what would it be? 3 words. I would say listen to people. Because I was a sturdy motherfucker. Okay, you don't care what we do, Hakim? Okay, good. Oh, thank you so much, Sika. I'm very happy and I appreciate the nice words, and I'm happy that it keeps you motivated. Keep it up. Have fun with this stuff. Don't stop. It's the best thing you can do. If I have any long-term goals in art, I mean, besides becoming better with art, because I still have the feeling that I suck at it. So right now I really try to find my own inner self, if I can say like this. So I don't I don't do any master studies anymore. I don't try to look at other artists anymore. I try to stay away from like already created stuff. I want to find my own, I don't want to say style, but I want to find my own self when it comes to my own art, you know? Because I think when you do something like you draw a face every day, you see that you have certain habits, patterns, things you like, things you observed. But when you always constantly look at different stuff, it changes, right? And the last couple of years, I constantly looked at other stuff, and now I really want to do things that are standing for me, you know, standing for my style, for my way of drawing things, painting things. So I really want to find my language when it comes to art. And that's why I also do tons of drawings without reference. I did the last couple of months a lot of drawings from imagination, which looked horrible, but I feel it's slowly going somewhere, you know? And yeah, that's my main goal right now. I wanna find my own self. Do you have any goals in direction of your own story or world concept? Yes, I have really a lot of ideas, and sometimes I have too many ideas and too little time to work on things. I have a lot of projects I have started. I could never finish, which I would love to finish. Sometimes it's just a time thing. Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's sad or something, which it is not sad, but it is, yeah. I need to get the stuff out, you know. I just put it basically in the fridge, in the ice package, so to speak, and let it rest there for a while. Then I come back at it when my skills are more defined. How about you? I also would love to stream one more day in a week. But right now I have no clue how and when I could do that. It's just impossible right now. Okay, let's wrap this one up here, because I feel like we spent already too much time on this. I wonder why do they have these cuts in there? They probably have a reason for this. Also just do the cut. So if that's something like from a ship, maybe we can fake it like it is really like a ship. But the thing is, like, how would you see where you're going? That doesn't make so much sense. It's also super close to it. Like, how can you see it? Like, how can you see anything? Doesn't make so much sense. Maybe we need to, even though the silhouette is better though, maybe we need to make it lower. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. We can at least go here. I want to make art feel effortless, constantly looking for ways to make it easier and faster. I mean, that's an ambitious goal, but the things like Kuja, you always get better. So what you expect from your art also gets constantly higher. But of course, there are also limitations. But when you achieve that, let me know, so I can learn from you. Jonah, maybe, I don't know, maybe also do Zeppelins for your own project or for the characters. That's also this episode, this stream is about. Like, not only making a image, like painting an image, we want to have a backstory, we want to have design, we want to have a purpose. So we now design everything around that image. So it's basically the other way around. Usually I would advise to start with world building and building a problem to solve with your designs. But now that we did the image on the last stream, where we think about, okay, we have, like, let me show it again. So we think about, okay, we have this image we painted, this color thumbnail, and we have now all these ideas we just wrote down in, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, right? Now we have so much potential, we have so much possibilities where we can start designing. And when we done that, we can design the ships, the cities, everything is done, and then we put it in a portfolio or make it as a portfolio piece, and the image itself also gets filled with all our ideas, all our designs, and at the end you have a completely round thing. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's always a process of making these things, and it's about learning and having fun. But at the end, it's about having a round piece of work, you know, and people see it. And this is way better than having one pretty image, if you ask me. If I look at it and you have a lot of the drawings, designs, thinking, writing things down, research, you can basically show that you can start such a thing from zero that shows way more qualities and tools in your pocket rather than just, I don't know, using a 3D program and render an image, because that everyone can do that. And that's also the problem we have right now. Like everyone basically can take a 3D program, take base mesh and then do color on it, add light and stuff, and then, yeah, I mean, you can do that if that's your thing, but don't expect that you will get somewhere with that in the professional world. You know, some people like that, of course, some people buy it also, or buy an image, but it's really different. It's different on like working in a pipeline than doing that. Yeah. So the big question is now, when should I finish these to the next stream and then we look at the final result of the ship and then we start designing something new in the next stream? Or should we continue with this in the next stream? And I really leave this up to you, because you are all here right now. Still don't like this part here. Maybe I give it the same shape. This is weird. Yeah, I think that's maybe a bit better. You see, like now that it's just a third version, but we start to think more about that stuff. Think about more like how things could work. Man, still don't like that. Yeah, that's the one I want. Okay, let's clean this up. Fill it with also a tone. Guja, are you satisfied with the pufferfish shape? Is it okay for you? Is it approved? Oh, your name is Koja. Sorry. I apologize. When do you decide to make a new version? Because in theory, every change you make could potentially be a new version. Yes, you're right. I decide now to make a new version. I just was not happy with this one. But you are 100% correct. Correctamento. Okay. Let me just quickly fill it with a tone and then let's move on. Okay. Okay. Let's scale this more. Okay. So what is the time? 2.5 hours. Wow. Already. Do you have a dream project you would love to work on or be part of? Or a lot actually. I would love to work on a God of War. I would love to work on something like. I would love to work on something like Skyrim or Morrowind. Like fantasy stuff. I would love to do, yeah, I would love to work on the movie stuff for Dune, for example. If they would ever try to, make a continuation of the Fifth Element, I would love to do that. Or even cowboy sittings. I just love doing cowboy stuff, pirate stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't know. On all of that. And you? Andrew Hodgson. Ah, okay. Don't know the guy. Cool. So he does what is he doing? Oh, you would love to work at Disney? A friend of mine is working at Disney. What department you want to work on? Ah, you worked at 3 yards. Ciao, Akeem. Thanks for joining. Have a good evening. You would love to do VizDev? Oh, okay. What would happen if we would turn this one here? Yeah, I mean, you're not safe from things that can happen in a big company. But I think if you are a little bit aware of that, stuff like this can happen. And that they basically burn you out also. And you go there in with the right mindset just to learn, why not? I wouldn't be afraid of that, to be honest. I mean, at least it's nothing like, I don't know, sexual harassment or stuff like that. Of course, it's a different ball game, but this technically can happen to you everywhere, right? I would like to do a vertical airship, to be honest. Just to do something different. Where was the seahorse? Come back, little seahorse. Here you are. Let's use the seahorse. How about working towards your dream for the next streams? What do you mean by this? You mean working on stuff like that on the stream? Yeah, I mean... yeah. Maybe not a bad idea, because every time I start projects like that, and I did already, I overthink the ideas so much, you know? I start working on portfolio pieces and I write so much stuff down and I do so many iterations and sketches, and then I did so many stuff and then I'm really not like, I don't execute the stuff anymore because I spend so much time on prepping, like, yeah, overthinking too much. Yeah, it's really like that. How's it for you?
Happiness in me. So tell all the rain clouds to move along. The storms of this life can't take my happy song. The hurricanes will tread on a different place. This joy in my heart, no one can take away. So tell all the rain clouds to move along. The storms of this life can't take my happy song. The hurricanes will tread on a different place. take away.
No, you both can relate, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's not easy, right? At the end, you just need to have fun. Really. If you stop having fun with the things you usually should have fun, you are burned out. You need to take a break. And then just coming back and having fun again. Yeah, that's true, Koja. That's true. Yeah, I mean, if you can make your your notes work, Jonah, then yeah. You just want to see me struggle, right, Koja? Just want to see me sweat. Design thinking. But yeah, no, we can do that. No. I know your intention. I was just kidding. I mean, this is also... I mean, I have to think a bit, but it's almost autopilot here. So. I love this here, this texture on this seahorse. It's crazy. Ah, okay. You mean when we all in the talk show and then we do the reveal and then we go back into time, 10 years back, and then we cry on camera? Sounds like you could be a producer. Yeah, I like the idea too, Jonah. I'm just thinking like, how can I make it work? That it's work. Do you go to THU, by the way, Koja, this year? Oh, don't be afraid of COVID. I was there last year and COVID was more present in the world than it is right now. So I got a ticket, I will go. It was amazing. It was my first THU last year. Never been there before. Feng wasn't there. But I met Mark Simonetti. Who else? Who else was there? Jesper Eising. He was really cool, really nice guy. Then I'm so bad with names sometimes. I wonder if that would work, what I have in my head right now here for this. So you can basically rotate this here. Jonah, are you kidding? Are you making a joke or is that for real? Where did I met Feng? I've met Feng at the, what was it called? IMAC in Paris. That was in 2019. We have to change a bit the music here. It's a bit too Fortnite-y. Yeah, but it was a good one, Jonah. It was a good one. For a moment I was like, what? That's also a art convention in Paris. And it's mainly for students, and there actually came a lot of names there. You had Sparth, you had John Howie, you had the guy from Lord of the Rings, you had Jama, you had so many big names. Really a lot of great people, veterans from the industry. Yeah. The only thing, it was a super nice lineup. The only thing which wasn't so cool was, first of all, the way it was set up. So I start with the good stuff. I also made a video about it. It's also on my YouTube videos down in the beginning somewhere. First of all, we had a really cool space where we could try out sculpting a medium with Finian McManus. That was really cool. But other than that, there was one big area for where you had the studios and you could buy art books and stuff. And you had a small little stage. And then you had a big stage where all the talks were, but it's basically where only talks. And yeah, I mean, you could meet people on the hallway and stuff and could talk to them. But yeah, I don't know, it didn't felt so connected, you know? On THU it's a bit more different. It's more personal in a way. You can basically grab a coffee and then stumble over, yeah, someone you maybe admire in terms of art. So let's say this is movable here. This is movable. So Hey Sebastian, how's it going? How are you? I'm good. It's just the end of the day. Having fun. Designing airships. How are you? Yep, designing airships for the image we made on the last stream. So we broke down our image. We broke our image down and then we decided what we potentially can design to fill it into the image, and then we started with airships. What are you doing, Sebastian? When do I have to wake up tomorrow? Probably between 7 and 8. Depends if I go for a morning run before work. And you? You have no schedule. You're a freelancer. Well, lucky you. You have tight deadlines? Oh, okay. I mean, you said you do splash, right? So you work 4 weeks on one image? You're prepping for an interview. Oh, good luck for the interview. What position? You have 1 week for one splash? So... What? But not... You're not talking about a riot splash, right? Oh, okay. I thought you would talk about a riot splash, I'm sorry. Okay, but still, I mean, what is the pay on it? Is the pay making you have to get it done in 1 week, or is it their deadline that they ask you, okay, we need this in 1 week? I only have a little freelance beside uni and I already think it's stressful, so I'm doing full-time, must be crazy. I mean, it depends if you, what is your schedule, and if you have a schedule. It really depends on that. For environment artists, nice, Sebastian. Where's the studio? Well, I think Kuja is has his good processes. I mean, if you know your process, how it works, and how you are the most efficient, then probably you're able to do that. But the thing is, like, in terms of iteration and feedback loop, you took a mentorship at him and he only needs 1 week to do a riot splash. Okay, but then he must nail the composition right away, right? So he almost has no time for iterations. Yeah, and he does these in the first day, I guess, right? Yeah, please do that. I'm gonna take a look. I mean, it's definitely impressive and stressful. ITI se stressa full. I wonder if we could have something like this the seahorse is having. Those little hairy, spiky things. Like this. Not sure if I like that. But I see the one here has an antenna. Maybe we can do Something like that. This looks kind of stupid. Oh. Let me read this thing. Like Shamrock and Dublin, nice. Nice, good luck with the interviews version. How you say? Fingers crossed. He makes 4 thumbnails. 4 thumbnails. Let me take a look. Ich do rough sketches, 3 to 4 hour refined. Thumbnails, 4 to 8 hours color roughs. 2 to 4 hours drawing. And there was a schedule. Yeah. Let me see. We said 3 to 4 hours refined thumbnails. Which one are they? The last one? Or the one on top? Oh no, second round, first round thumbnails here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, some of them are really not that complex. Okay, I see. Oh, this I can understand. Then he does the color one for the one they have chosen. So he already added stuff. So he already prepared basically the image. Okay, makes sense. Then he rendered that. I mean, it's still very tight, right? But yeah, I mean, it's very efficient, I would say. I mean, some things are not fully rendered. Also, the face of the guy on the left looks also a bit unfinished. But yeah, I mean, it's still a very well, I mean, respect to pushing through that, man. But he said that we shouldn't orientate too much on his schedule because he has a lot of work experience. Yeah, you can see that he is very efficient in his process. Yeah, that's like when you do the same process over and over, then you are when you are try to self-reflect also the process, then you can get really fast with this stuff. But it's also very specific, right? The splash art. I wonder how it would be if this would be, if they could turn this lower area here. It's like this. I just hope that I can someday output a lot of art showtime like Sakashimi or Art Gem. Yeah, I mean, the thing is also, I'll try not to compare yourself too much with others. I mean, take it as you want it. Don't take it as, I mean, you don't need to listen to it, but just be careful that you don't compare yourself too much with others, you know, because of course everyone is different, everyone has a different background, and every human being is also different. And it's not fair to yourself if you always compare yourself with others, because it can be possible that you always will struggle with trying to be that, you know? If that makes sense. If it doesn't, just don't listen to me. It's already very late. Thank you, Sharishwa. Sorry, I hope I did not butcher your name. Sharishwa? Thank you so much. I appreciate the words. Really appreciate the feedback. He's looking up. to zoom in. It's like, what up? That's my ship. I'm the captain of this ship. Okay. Captain has no legs. Right. Things like I would just add more and more stuff to this. I think I just need to stop with this. It's definitely an interesting approach, doing them more vertical. So let's fill it up. Maybe it's a pirate ship and they enter the enemy ship, they are attacking them from above because of their vertical build. Or maybe this thing here in the front is like to cut other ships. So they basically ram them. I'm working on value studies like you said earlier, but I'm bad at perspective and that affects the whole painting. What would you recommend? Should I work on perspective and brushwork first? If you do value studies from a reference image like a still life, maybe then try to mimic the shapes rather than because you always need to practice perspective. So I can show you an example. So let's say let me save this first here. Yeah. So let's say you want to make a hello. Yes. Let's say this is your value study here, right? I mean, it's maybe not so good example because it's not very in perspective, but we can make it work to understand. So instead of trying to focusing too much on the form, try to think more about the shape. You know, like more of a classical, traditional art observation. So you look more for the shape of your object, the shape that it creates. I'm just drawing very quick over it just to get an understanding here. And you're basically just trying to draw the shape or the silhouette of the object with a more classical approach. So you take more straight lines, so to speak, to mimic that. You know, and then trying to nail then the geometric form, because here we can see, of course, there is some sort of geometric form, so we could basically work that in here, and then we create the 3D effect while showing the side view here. Because what you just need to keep in mind is that when you want to make an object interesting looking, then make sure that you always understand the concept of 3 dimensions. So when you see the cube here in the front view, you see one plane. Let's say we turn the cube on the plane where it's standing a little bit, and now we see 2 planes. And now we rotate the camera on top or below, doesn't matter. And then you see basically all 3 sides, and this stuff makes this 3D view more popping. So go for the shape first, and then always ask yourself, what is the form of it? If it's the eye, it is a sphere. Okay? And then try to work only with the shapes in the image, but really also then if you have trouble with that, copy the frame really off the image. Like really try to do it like it is in your reference. Okay, I hope it helps. Okay. So I think this would be the last one for today, because we already streaming 3 hours and 20 minutes. But I need to say it was really fun today. Now the question is, do you want me to finish this and then we do the next thing? So we basically vote on the next stream if we work on the character or if we work on something else, and I finish this before, or should we continue with this on the next stream? Hey Murat, good evening, how are you doing? Thank you. Somehow the style of the airships reminds me of Treasure Island, although they didn't have Zeppelins in that. Treasure Island? Ah, I know which one you mean. I mean, I take that as a compliment. I like the movie. Kusha, you want to do God of War next stream? I need to be more straight line. We will do that. We can do that, but not next stream. Let's continue with this, bring it to a finish, and then maybe let's do some God of War stuff. And I will try to prep it a little bit more, so that we actually get stuff done. Okay, in 2 weeks, no pressure. All right, what's going on? If you have time to finish this off stream, I'm good doing something new next week. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, I would at least draw it in perspective and then just add a little bit of color, maybe. Or maybe just some shading or something, you know. But yeah. I mean, at the end, these airships needs to be here. So they need to land here. Need to do that. But I mean, again, we can come back now to where we started, right? So what we already can say is we started with Airship Designs. Maybe if I want to do a couple more, I do a couple more because it's really fun, and I feel like I just start to get a little bit into the groove. So yeah, maybe I look at a little bit more reference, but I'm happy that we already did 4 today. And yeah, maybe, I don't know. The thing is, like, when we go into perspective now, then really comes the interesting part of trying to understand what is the actual form of everything, right? Like, if we turn that, how does it look from the front? So if, I don't know, this is that, and this is this here, how this actually looks from the front. So let's say it is like we said, these are pirates and their habit of attacking other ships is basically to slice their balloons with the lower part here. So yeah, then the question is like, okay, how is that built here? So how is the form? You can basically scale this up. So we hit our ratio. Also, I would love to read a little bit more about how they build these ships, so I get a better understanding of the functionality and also on what we actually need to make it function, at least believable in the design, right? But yeah, that would be basically the next step, doing it in a front view, and then trying to understand also the form, and then drawing it in perspective. Yep. But it was really fun, I need to say. I'm happy that we did it. So how do we call this stream today, people? Do we call it designing airships? Or do we call it how to art direct yourself? Because it's also something we did. This is D. This is C. And this is B. This is A. I feel like the dude is still too big. Oops. Oh no, I don't stop with this because when I start to render this now, I will never end the stream. Stream Punk Airship, Mova, you have the best ideas, man. Where have you been? One of the best parts of being an artist is looking at some random videos like windmill construction just for drawing. Yeah, totally. Okay, I think then we call it Stream Punk Airships. I think Murat had really nailed it. Let's call it Stream Punk Airship Designs. All right, everyone. Thank you everyone for joining. It was a really fun stream again. I appreciate you all that you all came, and I really had a lot of fun today with doing these airships and working on the image. Thanks for all the conversations we had. It was really a cool stream. If you could take something out of the stream today, I would be happy to, if you give it a thumbs up on the YouTube video, and feel free to subscribe and follow. Otherwise, if any one of you is interested in one-on-one mentorship with me, please check out my website, janos-art.zone. And on that note, I wish you all a wonderful evening, a wonderful day, wherever you are. And I hope to see you all on the next stream on Wednesday. Right? Cool. Thank you so much. Have a great day and take